On the first video, we asked the question of what if Christianity isn't true? What does that mean for origins and really what it means for us as humans living in this universe? The second one, I want to look at how we can know things. Now, as a whole, we said Christianity is a religion that claims to be true, that it corresponds with reality. And if it isn't, then we should ignore it. And I want to make that point clear, that that should be the way we judge all worldviews. Can you live in accordance with this worldview? Because if you can't, then you should reject it. And that includes Christianity. If we can't live, if it doesn't correspond with what we know about the universe and basic human experience, then we should ignore it and we should reject it. So let's look at the issue of knowing. How do we know that we can know anything? So last video we talked about the two different origins of the universe. It's either an impersonal beginning or a personal beginning. And we came to this realization that if it's impersonal, then we are just an impersonal matter and atoms and molecules that are put together. And that really does impact whether or not we can know anything. And we see this at just about every level of our society. And the philosophical term is that we've entered into postmodernism or relativism, that we don't know that we can know anything. The only thing we're certain about is our uncertainty. We have no foundation, no universal standard to know or to ground our knowledge in. And that has led us to this great uncertainty in morals and in ethics and in just about anything else. So how can we know that we have right and true knowledge? Well, if for instance, naturalism and Darwinism are correct, we can't. Naturalism and Darwinism relies upon the scientific method, and the scientific method arose at a time in world history where Christianity was the presuppositions. Christianity was the building block, the assumptions that everyone made. And that's no accident that modern science started with Christianity, because Christianity teaches that the universe is ordered. It was made by a rational being, that is God, who created us as rational beings in his own image so that we can know things, and that the universe was ordered and directed by God in a knowable way. If, for example, the universe has an impersonal beginning, and there's just this random Big Bang that caused everything to come into existence, then this universe is truly disordered and chaotic, and the scientific method becomes impossible. Philosophers have long recognized this. Again, that is why we have come into this relativism of our day. We have long recognized that without a universal, there is no meaning to any of the particular facts. But science has been slow to acknowledge this. Science still exists as if we can rightly know things. And the philosophical term for that is positivism, that we can rightly and objectively know things, at least in the realm of science. But positivism has been proven wrong for quite some time, but science acts as if it is still true. So, for example, one recent study I read says that because of Darwinian evolution, we can't know that what our minds tell us is true, what our sensory experience tells us is true, is actually true. It could just be a trick of evolution, that it only tells us what we need to know to survive. So, in other words, our knowledge is just a construction of what is actually there. And it's only telling us what we need to know, not everything that is there. So if that is true, then the scientific method that proves that theory, that supports that theory, becomes an impossibility. The scientific method rests upon this idea that we can know things and that the universe is ordered in such a way that we can have repeatable results when we test our hypothesis, and that we can somewhat objectively know these things. Now, without that universal, without that grounding of knowledge in God and a rational, personal God creating everything and then creating us in his image, without that, man is really left with no basis for knowing anything. And we do see that on just about every level of society today. And yes, it's even creeping into the hard sciences. The soft sciences, the social sciences have acknowledged that for quite some time. And it is now, as I just said, creeping in to hard scientific methodology as well. So if Christianity isn't true, we can't know that it's not true. If Christianity isn't true, we can't know that Darwinism is true. We can't know that naturalism is true. That's the irony of all of this, is that the conclusions of scientism, that is believing in science, has actually undermined the entire process of the scientific method. that it is eating and cannibalizing itself. But the Christian view teaches that there is a God there. He has created everything. He's created it in an ordered and knowable way, and he has made man in his image, that we are rational beings with minds who can study, learn, and come to know things rightly. Not exhaustively. We don't know things exhaustively. We're not infinite like God, but we can know things. If Christianity is not true, then none of this really matters, because we can't know whether or not it is true. It's just whatever is, and none of it really matters.